my dear students of class 7. Welcome to online classes. So today we are going to start a new chapter, that is Kingdom Classification. And this is the first part of this chapter. We will be taking two parts, two videos to finish this chapter. And here you can see the topics which we are going to cover it. First, we will know what is classification, then why it is needed, needs and advantages, and what are its advantages, and the last one, the 5 kingdom classification. Okay, so let's do that. Kingdom classification, that is the chapter name. So around us we see millions of things, living things, plants, animals. Some are very small, maybe single cell which we cannot see from our eyes also, and some are very big, huge, multicellular. So our world has millions of living organisms. Each one of these has different features. All are not same. They have got different features. Some are animals, some are plants. Some are tiny, very small, and having only one cell body. That is, they are made up of only one cell. But some are huge and they are multicellular, made up of many cells. Do you know the names of all things? Perhaps you may be knowing some of the names of few organisms, but not all. How do you think we can identify them? Around us we can identify few plants, definitely, and few animals as well. Not all. We even don't know the names of all the plants. We cannot recognize them. Do they have names? All the plants, do they have names? All the animals, do they have names? So all these questions, all these queries will be solved in this chapter. Kingdom classification. First, let us talk about classification. What is the definition of classification? The division or grouping of things on the basis of certain common characteristics. If we divide the things according to some common, similar type of characteristics, we call it classification. It's not only in biology, everywhere you have got classification. Starting with a shop. All of you visit the shops or shopping malls every time. For them, for the shopkeepers or those who are there to assist you, it is very easy for them to tell you to locate whatever you want. For example, if you are looking for a health drink, maybe Horlicks, Bonvita, Boost, whatever, they'll just tell you, okay, go there, it is there in that shelf. If you are looking for toothpaste, mouthwash, anything, they'll say, okay, go in that corner. How it is possible for them, how it has become so convenient and easy for them to locate the things, where are they? Because they have categorized them, they have classified them. So same way, in living organisms also, we categorize them, we keep them in categories, we keep them in groups. Like in the shops, all the soaps, shampoos and washing soaps are kept in one place, all the health drinks are another place, some stationery items in one place. Okay, so same way here also, when we see some common characters in the organisms, we group them together, give them some name. So that is classification. When we are talking about biological classification, what is it? All living things can be classified. Now we are not talking about any non-living things, we are only talking about the living things. Biology is the study of living things. So biological classification means we are trying to classify the living things into different groups on the basis of their similarities or common characteristics. Same way, when we look for some similar characteristics, we group them together, and this is called biological classification. And there is a branch of science which deals with all this classification and so on, is called taxonomy. And the person who does it is a taxonomist. Taxonomy is a branch of science that deals with classification of organisms. Okay? This is the three things I gave you as assignment. Okay? This was there in your book only. If you open it, it's on the first page of the same chapter. Now, need and advantages of classification. What is the need? Why we have to classify the organisms? And what are the advantages? Now let us see. Some advantages of biological classification. It makes the study of living organisms convenient. As I told you, thousands and thousands of plants and animals are there. We cannot study about all. We even don't know them by their names. So once we classify them, very easy, very convenient for us to study about them. It helps to identify different organisms and group them accordingly. Now, all kinds of dog, whether they are very small, whether they are very big, whether they are wild, domestic, all these types of dogs can be grouped together in one. So, it helps them to identify different types of organisms, and then based on their similarity they can be grouped together in one particular group. It reveals the relationship among the various groups of organisms. So there are various organisms around us. If you see the cows and elephants, now what are the similarities? Both these, they feed their young ones with milk. So that is one common characteristics in elephants and cows. So we can group them together, we can keep them in one group, and we can call them mammals. So, relationship among the various groups. The study of a few representatives from each distinct group helps us to integrate the idea of life as a whole. We need not to study about all the organisms, just select few from each group, learn about them. Once you do that, then you know about all the organisms and you get the idea about the life as a whole. It also helps in studying the process of evolution. Evolution means how the organisms evolved. Science says that in the beginning only the simpler organisms were there. And slowly, as they evolved, they become complex. It started maybe with the microorganisms, organisms with very few cells or maybe one cell, and then slowly they developed, became complex, became multicellular. So it talks about evolution also, and the last one, it provides information about plants and animals which occur in specific geographic regions. Now, when we talk about the geographical regions, you'll come to know that in one particular region, the animals are different, the plants are different than the other. For example, in the hills, the type of trees which you see, like pine trees and all, that you don't find in the plains. If you talk about the animals like yak, panda and all, you find it there in the hills, but the same animals are not found in the plains. So according to the different geographical regions also, the organisms are different. Okay, so all these things we come to know just because of classification. Once again, there are so many plants and animals. For us, it is not easy to learn individually about each and every organism. Even the scientists, they cannot do that. So what they have done, maybe 50 or 60 organisms which have some common characteristics. So they are grouped together in one. And if we study about one or two from that particular group, we know about all the 50. Okay? So that is the advantage. Now this is a piece of information for you. Do you know all the living beings are classified into a hierarchy of labels? Hierarchy. What do you mean by hierarchy? For example, let us take our school. Who is at the top level? The principal. Maybe after that, the vice principal. Then maybe the secondary teachers and primary teachers, the office staff, and then you have got the students, those who are prefects. And then the last one is other students, right? So this is a hierarchy, okay, from top to bottom. Same way when we are talking about these organisms, they are also in a hierarchy. Kingdom, phylum, classes, order, family, genus and species. The same thing you can see it here clearly. The first one is kingdom. The whole living organisms are divided into two kingdoms, that is either plant kingdom or animal kingdom. And after that you will see below the kingdom you have phylum, then class. We will be studying all these things. When you go to the higher classes, you will be studying about all this. Order, family, genus and then species. Species is the lowest one. Okay? The 5 kingdom classification. So there was a gentleman, one scientist, whose name was R.H. Whittaker. He is the one. Robert Harding Whittaker. The 5 kingdom system is the most common way of classifying the living organism. He was the first one to classify all the living organisms into 5 groups. And then he says 5 kingdom classification. Is R.H. Whittaker or Robert Harding Whittaker proposed the system of classification in 1969. Very, very important for you to remember this. R.H. Whittaker and 1969. He arranged all the organisms into 5 kingdoms based on the 3 criteria. So he chose 3 criteria. On the basis of that, he arranged them in 5 kingdoms. So let us learn about him also. Whittaker expanded the classification system to 5 kingdoms. These are the 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, Animalia. Plantae is plants, Animalia is animals. Okay? So organisms were placed into these kingdoms based on the type of cell, prokaryotic or eukaryotic, level of organization, whether they are unicellular or they are multicellular, and the type of nutrition they take. Okay? So this is all about R.H. Whittaker. On the basis of these criteria, what are these criteria? 3 criteria: the cell structure, body structure and mode of nutrition. The entire living world was divided into 5 kingdoms. And what are these 5 kingdoms? Monera, Protista, fungi, plants and animals. So next class we will be studying about all these kingdoms separately. Now here I have put a picture for you. All of you, you know what is this. If you want to complete it, it is virus. So only I and you are missing. Only I and you can break the chain. So if you don't want to get into difficulty, if you don't want to become sick, then follow all the things which are told by your elders. Okay? So it is up to us. You yourself and we can do that. Okay? So have a great day. Take care, stay at home and stay safe.